on, people? LP2000 right back at you with another video. Yes, welcome back to Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Summer Kaiju, and I'm your host, Leslie P. Chambers, and today we're doing another X Plus figure review. Yes, a great one. This is one figure that I got last year, in June as a matter of fact. And you're probably wondering why has it taken me so long to get to this figure, and there's a good explanation for it. And the honest explanation is, I've just been busy. But I'll talk about that later on. And today we're taking a look at the X Plus 30cm Gamera 1995 poster Real Master Collection Resin Ric Exclusive Edition from the epic Heisei Gamera film that basically revitalized his film career, Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. And as you can see, I have the beautiful figure here, and the box is around here somewhere, but you know how we do things around here. Let's get to the box before we get into the figure, and this basically is the box. This is it. Just a plain white box that has RMC Plus and Gamera and Japanese text on the box. Poster edition, poster variant edition, and that's pretty much it with the box. No stunning artwork or anything like that. Just a plain old white box with the legal jargon on the front as well as on the back, you know. And the box is pretty much really big in a lot of respects. It's big and it's bulky because of the fact that, once again, this is a Real Masters collection from X Plus Gamera 1995, and it's made of resin. You know, mostly X Plus figures are mostly made of vinyl, but they have dabbled into the resin market, which is why they call it the Real Masters Collection or Real Master Collection. And they have done Gamera, they have done Kiryu, both versions of Kiryu. They have done 1989 Godzilla 30cm. They have done a 62 Godzilla 30cm, and a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head. But yes, they have dabbled, like I said, into the resin market. And once again, I got this guy last year around June. And now that I think about it, June was a horrific month for a lot of us X Plus collectors, if you think back that far. Because that month alone saw the release of this, the 25cm Frankenstein, the 30cm anime Godzilla. From Diamond reissues, it was the landing stage Hedra. Who else? Oh, 30cm Megara, that came out that month. The 25cm Gargantuas that got pushed back from April of last year got released that month. Just a lot of stuff. I know I'm missing maybe a couple of them, but those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. And once again, the reason why I haven't got to this guy yet is because I just been so busy with everything else that's been coming along with the channel. You know, pieces that I've gotten since this guy. And I've been saying in my videos, you heard me say it lots of times, I'm gonna get the Gamera, I'm gonna get the Gamera, I'm gonna get the Gamera. And I was like, you know what, it's high time that I did. Because I know the last time I was on here, in my last video of the Favorite Sculptors Line 64, I mentioned that I was gonna go into the Heisei. I was gonna do a Heisei topic with the next video, namely the Fire Rodan 30cm from X Plus, or the 25cm and 30cm Godzilla 1989 Ric versions of those figures. So I figured, you know what? I was looking at Gamera the other day, and I was like, you know what? I haven't got to this guy, you know, since I got the figure. And since I did say I was going to go into a Heisei topic, I thought it'd be apropos of me to do this guy, because he is long overdue. And once again, it's one of those figures that, you know, like I said, I've had it for more than a year. Well, at least, well, it'll be a year come June. So you're going like maybe 8, 9 months. And once again, this figure is amazing. It really is amazing. Now, like I said, it is made of resin. And of course, if you're familiar with resin or vinyl, whatever, you know that vinyl packs a lot of detail with their figures. You know, vinyl figures packs a lot of detail with the vinyl material. However, resin packs a little bit more punch in that area. Not trying to say it makes vinyl look inferior, but resin offers a little bit more detail in the crisp, dynamic, you know, just picture perfect department. You know, my good friend Steve Serajoli and David Aradopko, they know all about that, and they can attest to that. That resin offers a little bit more detail in terms of almost picture perfect on how a particular figure or character will look. You know, and with that being said, because it's resin, it's extremely brittle. Like, you can drop a vinyl figure on the floor. I'm not recommending you do that. I'm not recommending you do that. But if you happen to drop a vinyl figure on like a hardwood floor, nine times out of 10 it probably won't break. You know, it won't smash into pieces. But with this figure being so brittle and made of resin, if it was to drop from a high altitude on a hard surface, it would crack, it would break, and it would not be a good thing. Excuse me. So, there's a trade-off with having resin. Yes, you get a better figure or better looking figure in terms of detail and sculpture, but on the back side, it's extremely fragile, and it's also extremely heavy. Because when I got this guy, the shipping was a little bit more than what it should have been, but because it's so heavy and because it's so bulky, that's why it's made of resin. You have to consider those considerations when you take on resin pieces. However, I will say that because it is resin, it doesn't have the normal problems that the original 30cm Gamera 1995 from X Plus has. Because with that figure made of vinyl, over time, because I had the original, but I sold it off to get this guy, and I sold it to a great friend of mine, Godzilla, here on YouTube. And I sold it off to get this guy. But with the vinyl version of that particular version of Gamera, as well as the 96 version, if you think about it, over time, because his legs are so bulky and he's like in a Quasimodo type of stance here, the legs does kind of run the risk when temperature changes to sag a little bit, and his legs like get wider and wider, spaced out wider, which brings the figure down a little bit. But with the resin being such a harder material, you don't have to worry about that, So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get this guy, because I'm a huge fan of Gamera, especially the Heisei versions of Gamera. My favorite version out of the three, because they made 3 films in this trilogy: Gamera Guardian of the Universe, Gamera 2 The Attack of Legion, or the Advent of Legion, and the third one, Gamera 3 Revenge of Virus. Out of all of them, I think the 96 version is my favorite, but this guy really is awesome too in its own right. So that's the backstory about me getting this figure, blah blah blah. Once again, I want to give a huge thank you and shout out to Tyler Boots Carlson. He helped me score this Ric, and this really is an amazing piece. Now, as far as other statistics about this figure, like I said, it was released last year, June 2018, but it was released before twice from X Plus. The original vinyl version came out in 2013, and they released another RMC version. I forgot what year it was, but they made an RMC version of this particular version of Gamera, but it was painted more like the original. Whereas this is based off the awesome poster, the awesome poster of Gamera Guardian of the Universe, where you have Gamera in the forefront here and Gauss in the back, and the whole poster is surrounded by fire. That's what this Gamera represents. No different than the Godzilla 1999 2000 poster variant edition that had more sort of a reddish color to simulate the early poster of Godzilla 2000. This one falls into that same category. As a matter of fact, you will see the Godzilla 2000 in size comparisons later on. But that's basically the backstory with me and this figure, and I really do love it. And let's get into the figure. Now it's not much to it. Like I said, if you already have the original Gamera 1995 figure from X Plus, the vinyl version, or the RMC, this is basically the same figure, except the paint scheme is different. The sculpt is pretty much the same, and that's what I love about this figure. The sculpt is awesome. They got this figure just down pat to the suit. And I think this is an original X Plus creation. It's not based off a model kit, to the best of my knowledge. So this was an original X Plus creation, and they have done a great job with this. With the skin texture all over his body, on his arms and his legs, and his feet, his claws or whatever. Just done a great job. The shell looks really good, detail. Now this is a Ric Exclusive. The Ric Exclusive, besides the fact it's a Ric Exclusive release, it does come with a light up. Yes, I know we are sick to death of light ups. I know we are. However, this is a situation where a light up actually does work. And what you need to do is you need to open Gamera's shell. There's like a magnetic plate in the middle of his shell that you have to detach. And then once you do that, there is a mechanism that activates the light switch, and once you do, you switch it on, and as you can see in his mouth right now, it illuminates an amber type of glow in his mouth, basically simulating that he's about to shoot his plasma fireballs. And this is great. Once again, I know we're sick to death of light ups and all that good stuff, but once again, I've always said light ups done right, or at least put in a proper situation or the perfect situation, does really work and still work. I can understand a lot of folks are just sick to death of light ups because we don't really need them on a lot of us, a lot of normal S Plus figures nowadays. But in the right circumstances and the right situation, a light up does look really well, and this is an example of that. So this is great. This really is great. Basically, the figure speaks for itself. You know, just the overall, you know, sculpture of the figure, from, like I said, his skin, his claws, his feet, especially his tusks, the mouth. Just the mouth looks really awesome with the individually sculpted teeth, the flesh colors in his mouth. You know, the eyes are really done really well. You know, the green pupils just all over his eyes or whatever. Just a great solid representation of the 1995 Gamera. You know, the plates, you know, the plates in the middle of his chest right here. Once again, this is a figure that probably is the best at when it's resin. You know, nothing against the vinyl or whatever, but once again, this figure packs a lot more detail because it is resin, and because of Gamera, and this particular version of Gamera having lots of plates on him. You know, the rigidness all over his body from his skin, like say his shell, blah blah blah. Really, it works best as a resin piece, in my opinion. You know, so it looks really great. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we go into size comparisons, once again, I normally go to a lot of detail with these things, but once again, this figure speaks for itself. You know, and if you have, and like I said, if you already have the 1995 Gamera from X Plus, the vinyl version or the original RMC version, you know, you already know what I'm talking about. This really is a great piece. And the last thing I want to talk about is that it has like orange highlights in certain parts of his body, like his legs, his feet, under his arms, under his neck right here. Just orange highlights in certain sections of his body to simulate him how he looked on the poster. Like I said, the poster is really, it's an awesome poster. Really is. The Heisei Gamera films had great posters, as well as the Heisei Godzilla films, if you really think about it. But it had great posters. But the first poster for Gamera, Guardian of the Universe, like I said, with him in the foreground, Gauss in the back, and with the I think it's the Fukuoka Dome light down at the bottom, and it's just surrounded by fire. And the fact that they really just included that into the overall architecture and paint scheme of this figure really looks so good. And it just made me re-examine the Gamera Heisei films. You know, I haven't seen them in a while. I'm a huge fan of Gamera, like I said, especially the Heisei films. And since I knew I was going to be doing this review, I've been going back and watching them lately. And once again, those films are awesome, and they still hold up to this day. And I think those films had a lot to do resurrecting Gamera or revitalizing Gamera. And I think Gamera's reputation owes a lot to those Heisei films, you know. But I'll talk about that later on, going towards the tail end of the video. But as far as the figure itself, it looks amazing. It's awesome. I'm glad I got it. Once again, Tyler Boots Carlson, thank you so much for helping me out with this. If you're able to find one, that's the thing. By him being a Ric Exclusive and him being a resin piece, he is very scarce. And when you do find him, he's going to be very expensive. But don't lose hope, because I do know that some of these pop up on Mandarake from time to time. And they're not too expensive, you know, in my opinion, for what I've seen. But once again, those pop up there, you know, very few far in between. You know, you have to hunt. You have to put the legwork in. You have to put the work in to try to find one if you really do want one. Or hopefully X Plus can get around to reissuing this, because I don't really see Diamond going after this, because for what I understand, I think the Diamond deal is over as far as them reissuing Godzilla figures, or at least put on hold for now. And if they're doing that with Godzilla figures, I don't see them going after any Gamera figures. So you have to just look in the Japanese market, like, you know, Bai, Joust, Mandarake, you know, or maybe somebody on one of the Facebook Kaiju collectors groups will be selling theirs at some point, you know, whatever. But he's not out there that much. But if you do find one for a good price, whereas this one, the original RMC version, or the vinyl one, I suggest try and go after it. But I think between the three, this one is the best one. This one's the best one. The detail is awesome. It's superb. It's dynamic. It's off the chain. And like I said, between the three, this one gets my highest recommendation. All right, so let's do a couple size comparisons, and we'll wrap this review up. All right, let's go with the first size comparison. Okay, folks, this is the first size comparison. I mentioned this earlier alongside the RMC Gamera 1995 poster variant Real Masters Collection Ric Exclusive Edition. Woo! That's a lot to be saying at one point. Still, the man in the hour, the Gamera 1995, I have alongside him the 30cm X Plus Godzilla 1999 or 2000 Ric Exclusive Poster Variant Edition. As you can see, they look well together. Now, let me address the elephant in the room, which is the tower. I just got that a couple of days ago. Once again, thank you to Tower Boots Carlson. That is a mini replica of the Tokyo Tower. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be reviewing that real soon, so be on the lookout for that. I wanted to put it there just for presentation purposes because Gamera does have a little history with the Tokyo Tower, especially in Gamera Guardian of the Universe. But once again, I want to put these two together because these two look awesome together. And like I said, even though they're from different eras, they're both poster variant editions of their characters. You know, Godzilla from Godzilla 2000, of course, Gamera from Gamera Guardian of the Universe. And once again, I don't think we're ever going to see this on film. I don't think we're ever going to see Godzilla versus Gamera, but I think, I don't know. I want to. I really do want to see these two go at it, but it's the whole Kong versus Godzilla situation with me. I don't want to see one beat the other one. I don't want to see Godzilla beat Gamera. I don't want to see Gamera beat Godzilla. You know, I love them both, you know, on the same level to a certain extent. Even though I know Gamera is kind of looked upon as a Godzilla knockoff or ripoff or just a second-rate pretender or a kaiju alternative to Godzilla, but still, I view them somewhat on the same level, you know, whatever. But once again, it just makes you wonder what would happen if these two got together, you know, whether it's this version or the Heisei version or whatever. But once again, the reason why I put these two together is because of the fact they are poster variant editions. And even still, even though they're from different eras, it still would have been cool to see these two go at some point, you know. I don't think we will see it. I don't know. I mean, never say never. I know that, you know, maybe Daiei or whoever who owns the rights to Gamera right now can strike a deal with Toho. You know what? We could see that in the future. After Legendary is done with their Godzilla films, you know, whatever, and we know about this cinematic universe that Toho's planning to launch, you know, from Toho Studios once the Legendary films are done. You never know. We could get a film involving Godzilla vs. Gamera, you know. I don't think the ship has sailed on that, but once again, if that does happen, it's going to be a great film, you know, especially if they have the proper people behind it. But at the end of the day, I don't want to see one beat the other one. I love them both so much, and I just can't see one beat the other one. Call me a wimp for saying that, but that's just how I feel. But besides the fact, these two look great together. Once again, I don't know why it took me so long to get to this Gamera 1995 review. But now, looking at it now, I'm so glad and fortunate that I have this figure in my collection. Because at first, I wasn't really... Don't get me wrong. I liked it. I liked the figure. I really did. But I enjoyed the original version better. The one that I had before better. Because I just like the paint scheme better on that one. But in the right lighting, you know, with the whole amber color of my room right now, and the lighting that I have in my room right now, which basically accents the Gamera figure a whole lot better. I'm loving this figure a whole lot more. Once again, if you're able to trap one down, please try and trap one down. You will not be disappointed, especially if you're a Gamera fan, especially if you're a fan of this version of Gamera. Like I said, between this one, the original RMC version, as well as the original vinyl version, out of three, they're all great Gamera figures. But in my opinion, this one is the best one to go after. And if you do get a chance to do so for a good price, jump on it. You will not be disappointed. Alright, speaking of Gamera, let's bring up his other two Gamera counterparts from the Heisei Gamera film trilogy with Gamera 1996 RMC version from Gamera 2 Attack of Legion, as well as my vinyl version of the 30cm Gamera 1999 from Gamera 3 Revenge of Virus. And let's bring up that Gamera size comparison right now. Okay, folks, this is the last size comparison, and like I said earlier, alongside the RMC Gamera 1995 poster variant edition, I have the RMC Gamera 1996 Ric Exclusive edition. Thank you to Eric Henry for hooking me up with him. And I have alongside him the 30cm vinyl version of the standard Gamera 1999 from Revenge of Virus. And once again, I have done Gamera videos on my channel before. You've seen the size comparison before. But still, every time I do it, it gets even more impressive in my opinion. And as you see the evolution of Gamera throughout the Heisei film trilogy, you know, and that is one of the many things I love about the Gamera Heisei film trilogy. Is the fact that not only are there awesome films, and they really redefine the kaiju film genre, how you present kaiju films, storytelling, blah blah blah. But as you can see with the evolution of Gamera throughout the films, the fact that he didn't stay one single design throughout the whole film, the fact that with each progressing design, his look kind of got darker, kind of got more menacing, kind of got more dangerous looking, which really reflective on how the films were, you know. And that's one thing I love about the Heisei Gamera films. You know, if you have not given them a chance, if you have not given them a try, if you have not seen them, because maybe what you heard about Gamera going towards the tail end of a show or film series, which I can understand to a certain extent. I'll talk more about that in a few seconds, but trust me when I say check these films out, because rarely, in my opinion, rarely do you come across a film series that get better as it go along. Normally it doesn't work that way. Normally if one film does good and it ends up having a sequel, 9 times out of 10 the sequel is not as nearly as good as the original one. But in this case, just like Captain America, right? Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Civil War, in my opinion, those films got better as the sequels progressed. You know, kind of like the Dark Knight trilogy. You know, you have Batman Begins, The Dark Knight Rises. With each progressing film, things got better. You know, and normally it doesn't work that way. But with Gamera, it really got better. You know, even though there were just 3 films, but yet the fact that they were able to do new things, employ new things, explore new options. They didn't do the whole status quo of making kaiju films. They made them better, you know, and normally it doesn't work that way. That's why to this day I always say that if you were to pin me down and ask me between the two who had the better Heisei film career between Godzilla and Gamera, as much as I love Godzilla, I'm going with Gamera. I'm just being real with it. And even though Godzilla had more films, I get that, and Gamera only had 3. The biggest difference between those 2 films is the fact that in Gamera's films, like I said, the films as well as the suit designs, the story, the production values, everything got better as the new movies came in. But I can't really say that about Godzilla. You know, I'm cool with 84. I love 89. You know, I love Godzilla's King Ghidorah. But after that, it just seems like, to me, the Godzilla Heisei film series kind of got lazy. You know, they just stuck with the norm. They didn't take any bold risks with their storytelling, and it got kind of boring, in my opinion. But with Gamera, you don't get that feeling. At least I don't. So that's the biggest difference between the Godzilla Heisei film trilogy and the Gamera Heisei film trilogy. Don't get me wrong, I love the Godzilla Heisei film trilogy, but I think in terms on who was the better between the two, it's Gamera. You know, I find that kind of ironic because in the Showa series, hands down, between Godzilla and Gamera, Godzilla had the better Showa films. Hands down. But I think it's kind of ironic how things kind of come full circle. That in the Heisei film trilogy, or at least in the Heisei era, Gamera kind of like turned the tide. And in my opinion, he has the better Heisei films as a whole than Godzilla. You know, so I kind of find that very ironic. And I think I find that very, very fitting. And you know what? Gamera needed that. He really did. And speaking of that, I'm going to talk about that right now. But as you can see, the Gamera, you know, figures from X Plus, they've done a great job with the RMCs, the vinyl versions, you know, whatever. They have done a great job of representing how Gamera looked throughout his Heisei films and the evolution of the character or the kaiju throughout his films. And it's really, really awesome. So, let's wrap this review up, and let's do that right now. Okay, folks, I'm back with my final thoughts of the X Plus 30cm Gamera 1995 RMC Real Masters Collection Ric Exclusive poster variant edition from Gamera Guardian of the Universe. Once again, a great, great figure. I highly recommend it if you can find one for a good price. Once again, he's really scarce. So you have to put in some work to try to find him if you really do want one. Once again, like I said, between the 3, this one earns my highest recommendation. Either way, you can't go wrong with with the other 2, honestly. But they have done a great job with this, with a superb paint scheme on, Gamera, how they turn up a notch with the orange all over his body to simulate the flames from the poster. Such a solid release. I don't know what I was thinking not getting to this sooner. But once again, it's cool that I was able, to get to this guy, after waiting for so long, and just be reminded why I got him in the first place. Great figure. Also, once again, thank you to Christopher Fielding for this Gamera shirt. I had to represent for him, get me this Gamera shirt in honor of the Gamera review. So, want to give a huge shout out to him. But what I want to talk about towards the tail end of this video is I want a lot of you kaiju fans, especially new kaiju fans. If you've been doing this as long as I have, or if you've been watching these films for the longest, and if you have not gotten into Gamera, I would say please change that, especially when it comes to the Heisei films, especially with Gamera Guardian of the Universe. Let me paint this picture for you. Gamera was made in response to Godzilla back in the 60s. After the Godzilla film series took off, other studios and other Japanese studios, or at least other movie studios, tried their hand in the whole giant monster attacking a city type of storyline. Whether it's Gorgo in 1961, or Gamera in 1965, Gappa in 1967, Yongari in 1967. So various other studios have tried their hand at this concept, at this formula. And in the beginning, Gamera was perceived as a Godzilla knockoff, and in a way, I can understand that, because in a way, he kind of did. Now, don't get me wrong. The films were good. The films were good, and I enjoyed them. The first three films, Gamera vs. Baragon, which is my favorite, Gamera vs. Gauss, were really good films, and they were somewhat serious films. After that point, with Gamera vs. Viraz, Giron, Jiger, and Zegra, and Gamera Super Monster, that's when they try to push the films to a more kid-friendly audience. And Gamera, even though he was a giant monster, a fire-breathing super turtle monster, after Gamera vs. Gauss, he started to really become this friend of the children, which is his moniker, really. And, he went from terrorizing the cities to giving kids rides on his shell. He was playing around with kids in the ocean. He followed a couple kids to another planet to fight Giron. He saved a couple kids in a sailboat in his hands. And they were just, when he would fight other monsters, the kids would be there shouting, Gamera, Gamera, do this, Gamera, do that, And I can understand from a kaiju film's audience member's perspective, that can really get annoying. That's why I highly recommend the first three Gamera films of the Showa period. But the other ones, you really have to be a kaiju fan to really like them and really do appreciate them. Now, I say all this to say this. Because of Gamera not having the best reputation towards the tail end of his career, of his Showa film career, when they decided to bring him back in 1995, that was a tall task for Shusuke Kaneko, the director behind the film, who also did GMK, the director behind the film, to get off the ground, because the task was how to make a credible, dark, more serious movie built around something that was not so believable and was basically a joke by the last time we saw him, So that was the task at hand in 1995. Even when I hear Godzilla fans say that they ruined Godzilla in the 70s films, with him rampaging as a nuclear devastation monster in the 50s and 60s, and then how when the 70s came in, he was a tail dragging dropkick superhero. And I can understand that criticism to a certain extent. However, in my opinion, the difference between Godzilla and Gamera, even though Godzilla was a superhero, he wasn't too goofy as Gamera was, And if you look at the last two Godzilla films of the Showa period, Godzilla's Mechagodzilla 1974 and Terra Mechagodzilla, arguably two of the best Godzilla films out there, especially from the Showa period. Then you compare them to Gamera's last two films in the Showa period, Gamera vs. Zegra and Super Monster Gamera, which was made in 1980. Basically, Gamera Super Monster is the equivalent to Godzilla's Revenge. If you've seen Godzilla's Revenge, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was a clip show, and they made that movie because they wanted to make some quick cash. Because at that point, Daiei Studios, the people behind Gamera, was in bankruptcy, so they thought making the new Gamera film would bring him some money, and it didn't. So my point is that even though Gamera had such a really messed up reputation by the time his short film career ended, it was almost impossible to think that they could make a credible film involving Gamera. But you know what? They did in 1995. And once again, the films got better as they went along. And if you would have told me back in the day that they would have done that with Gamera, I would have never believed you. I couldn't believe you based on what I saw in the last part of Gamera's short film series. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the Gamera film series, the short ones, the Heisei ones, you know, whatever, and I'm able to forgive some of the things that they did involving Gamera, you know, how they lightened his character up towards the latter half of his short film career. But I know that a lot of folks don't, and I know a lot of folks have not even given Gamera a chance because of that. But let me just tell you, forgo all that, leave all that behind, and please take a chance with Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. And I guarantee you, once you watch that film, once you realize just the production values are even better, the storytelling is better, you know, and like I said, with Gamera 2, the following film, and Gamera 3, once again, the films got better as they went along. That normally doesn't happen. And the fact that it happened to Gamera, I think is really, really fitting. And I think he deserves this. Because once again, this film trilogy, the Heisei Gamera film trilogy, in my eyes, that propelled Gamera from being conceived as a Godzilla knockoff to be a Godzilla alternative. Because that's me, you know. When I want to watch a Godzilla film, or at least a kaiju film, even though I love Godzilla and it's my first love, whatever, I don't want to see a Godzilla film every single time I want to pop in a kaiju film. That's why you have other alternatives like War of the Gargantuas, King Kong Escapes, Frankenstein Conquers the World, you know, Gappa, you know, and you have Gamera. And Gamera is a nice alternative to the Godzilla series. Because once again, if you have given up on Gamera, or if you heard so many different things or bad things about Gamera towards his, you know, in his Showa days, and you don't want to give the Heisei days a chance, please get off that fence. You will not be disappointed if you look at these films. As a matter of fact, you can find them on Amazon. You can find them at Walmart. I was in Walmart a couple weeks ago and I saw like the whole trilogy, like on DVD and Blu-ray for like maybe $5 or $10. Still, $10 for the Blu-ray movies of these great kaiju films, which basically redefine on how you look at kaiju films and how you make kaiju films. Once again, this film trilogy, as well as Gamera Guardian in the Universe specifically, had a lot to do of revitalizing Gamera's reputation. You know, I think without this film and without this film series, Gamera would still be perceived as a second-rate knockoff to Godzilla. And honestly, I believe Gamera is worth more than that. Even when I hear folks say, as it relates to the upcoming Godzilla King of the Monsters, about those other monsters that we've seen in the trailers, but we don't know who they are. We do know that they're not Rodan, Ghidra, and Mothra because we've seen them, but there are like at least 2 other monsters that are spliced into trailers that we don't know exactly what they are or who they are. And I've seen a couple people say, what if one of those creatures is Gamera? And that would be cool. But I think Gamera deserves a lot more respect than that. I think if Gamera was to be in Godzilla King of the Monsters, he should at least be advertised. He should be treated no different than King Ghidra, Mothra, Rodan. And I think because of the Heisei film trilogy, you know, that's why Gamera should have the reputation that he has right now because of the Heisei film trilogy. He should not be looked at as a second-rate knockoff to Godzilla. And I guarantee you, if you watch the Heisei Gamera film trilogy, you will not be disappointed and you will learn and understand why. It's been a long road for Gamera. It really has. And even to this day, a lot of folks don't want to seem to give him a chance. But for me, if you listen to me, and if you enjoy my content, if you enjoy my opinion or you value my opinion, please believe me when I tell you, give this film series a chance. Like I said, they are awesome films. Once again, they get better as time goes on. You know, I think, like I said, between the two, Gamera had the better Heisei film career than Godzilla. And I find it very ironic and also very fitting that in the year that Godzilla died in Godzilla vs. Destroyer, they were able to resurrect another Japanese monster icon in Gamera. And they did just that with Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. You know, so once again, this is a great figure. Please get your hands on it. You will not be disappointed. And once again, the detail of it speaks for itself. S Plus has done a great job, you know, with the resin sculpture of this figure. And once again, if you can find one for a great price, especially if you're a Gamera fan, if you're a fan of this particular version of Gamera, especially if you're a fan of the Gamera Heisei film trilogy, please invest in this piece. You will not be disappointed. You know what I mean? So that pretty much concludes my review of the X Plus Gamera 1995 30cm Real Masters Collection resin piece, Ric Exclusive posted variant edition from the epic, just great iconic film that kickstarted the Heisei Gamera film trilogy and did so much to revitalize the career of our favorite fire-breathing super turtle Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. If you have any questions, holler me down in the comment section or hit me up on Facebook via Leslie P. Chambers. We'll definitely go from there. Yes! Woo! Great figure. Once again, thank you, Tyler Boots Carlson, for hooking me up. I really do appreciate it, and thank you for hooking me up with the tower. But once again, I will get this review as soon as possible, and I'll talk more about the tower. Once again, great figure. Really great figure. And stay tuned for the slideshow that I have coming up towards the tail end of this video, which I kind of splice in this version of Gamera with past show-o-fos of Gamera, you know, to try to mix a little bit in with the old with the new, and I hope you enjoy that slideshow. Once again, I'm sorry for not getting to Fire Rodan or the '89 Godzilla as I initially announced in my last video. But hey, like I said, I did say I was going to go into a Heisei topic, and this is Heisei. So yes, probably the next video I'm going to do is probably going to be on the tower here, the Tokyo Tower, this mini replica of the Tokyo Tower. And I'm still going to go into the Heisei. I still got Fire Rodan to do. I still got the, like I said, the double review of the Godzilla 1989. Favorite sculptors line Varan. You know, I got to do X Plus setups to Godzilla's Revenge, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1993, Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Once again, a lot of stuff is coming here on the channel, not to mention what's coming out in the next couple months with the Gigantic 89 from X Plus, the Death of Real Zilla, the new Gargantuas, the Sakai 2002, the new King Ghidorah. Once again, lots of stuff is coming here on the channel. You'll not be disappointed. And once again, get this figure. Get this Gamera figure, the X Plus 30cm Gamera 1995 Ric Exclusive Real Masters Collection Poster Variant Edition. Once you get your hands on this figure, especially if you're a Gamera fan, you will not be disappointed. Trust me when I say that. Alright? So I thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see y'all again on next Figure Move review. Alright? Y'all take it easy.